Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the studio. My name is Andrea, and in January of 2024, I decided to try to go full time with my art business. And I am here to just sort of update you on my progress and talk about some business planning stuff as a little scrum meeting for the month. And my hope is that you can take something away from this and it will inspire you maybe to pursue your own art business. So essentially, I am in a process where I am goal setting for the month, obviously, because it is the first of the month, and I think it's really good to check in with how things are going monthly. So I want to have an art show. I've been invited to do a little art show at a cafe in around November, and I've actually had to push that off a couple months, so I'm really happy that they're still letting me do it. The problem is that creating enough works for a show like that is very time consuming. So I'm estimating that I'm going to need to have about 20 works ready. And I have a lot of works in another place that have been sitting there for years. They sell, obviously, it's not the same pieces, but every time they sell, I have to do a new one to replace it. So I'm already having to sort of furnish that place with new works every time they sell, which is a really happy problem, but it is very time consuming. And this is really something that you need to consider if you want to go into galleries also. So I haven't taken the plunge for that yet, just because I am worried about making sure that I can do enough works to satisfy my galleries, because once you manage to build those relationships, you really want to keep them healthy. So I'm sort of holding back on that for now, just to sort of see how quickly I can actually produce works to make sure that when I'm in those places, I'm able to keep up with the workload. I'm just not a fast painter. It's just how it is. So that's one of my, so this is one of my goals also, is to try to figure out sort of an established process of working that I really like, that gives me the results that I want, so that I can maybe speed up a little bit over time and figure out sort of what's eating the most time in my process. So that's sort of an ongoing topic of discussion in my head, I guess, or an ongoing issue that I'm trying to work through month by month. So I'll probably need about 20 works. So I'm working right now, I've decided to work on landscapes. You can see one of the pieces back there, right behind me on the wall. This is one that's almost finished. I'm just sort of nitpicking over a few things, but I will say that perfectionism is the enemy of done. And this painting, it's pretty good, I think, right now. Like, I'm fairly satisfied. One of my friends pointed out that it looks like the horizon is a little bit not level, which is a problem. And it is level hanging there, so I did take my level, and I do need to slightly adjust that water line. There's a whole bunch of things that I could do to it, or I can just call it done and start another piece. And I think I've got 5 drawings ready. I don't remember now. I've got like 5 drawings ready for this series. Gonna do another large one of the same size, and then some smaller pieces, because it's nice to offer pieces for different budgets and sizes of space and those kinds of things. I'm also working on an animal series, so I have a huge polar bear started. He's 50 by 50. You can kind of see him over the shoulder over there. Behind there, it's just some blue stuff right now. And then I also have some like turtles and seals and all kinds of things that I want to paint. So I just want to I'm sort of still in process mode, and I'm trying to figure out which of my works resonates most with my potential clients and buyers. Obviously, there are the things that I like to paint, landscapes and animals and people and everything. I kind of like to paint everything. So I'm sort of, at this point, leaving it up to my buyers to dictate which direction I go, because I honestly think that I will be happy doing anything or everything. Maybe I'll just try everything. We'll see. So that's my thought process just for the art production right now. I also have a bunch of rendering contracts coming in. So I have a client that I've worked for before, and they've contacted me with a nice big job, so that's really cool. So if I look at numbers, so here's the thing. I've started a whole bunch of income streams for now. I don't want to go too far with too many on these, just because you can overwhelm yourself. So I think I'm starting to realize that it's probably better to focus on a couple and get them moving and get them up and running before I try to launch into other things. So right now I've got renderings, because I've always been doing that, and I have established clients, and I have a client that provides me with rendering work every month. So that's easy for me. I've done that as a full-time job before. I worked in the game industry as a 3D artist, so I'm used to that type of production, so I take on those jobs. In the event that I don't make any sales or anything in the month, I'm also working 2 days a week at an art store. I love it there. It's Dessert. They're amazing. They just treat their employed so well. It's the healthiest workplace I've ever worked at, and I love my clients. So 2 days a week at the art store for mental health and socializing, and also it pays just enough that I can put food on my table. So I never have to dip into savings for groceries. But it still allows me enough time to sort of pursue everything else. 2 days a week is kind of a good balance, and then I can work the other 5. And then the other, so rendering sales. So let's say at the art store in July, I brought in $807. And then my painting sales, I've only sold 2 pieces, smaller pieces this month, but that equals 585. I have a spreadsheet I'm looking at. I will say, really important, actually track your money coming in and out. I would honestly be panicking right now if I wasn't doing this, because it feels like I'm not making anything. And you do work and you bill a client, and sometimes you don't get it for like a month. So yeah, it can be really scary and it feels like you're failing. But when you track the numbers, actually, it's really like relieving to see, even if it's not a huge amount, it's relieving. You're probably doing better than you think. So yeah, painting revenue is 585. I didn't sell any prints, so that's blank, so that's another income stream. And I haven't really been pushing that one, honestly, so that's probably why it's lagging behind. And then my Etsy sales, I have an Etsy shop with some just whimsical houseware and clothing and stuff and silk scarves. It's pretty cute. I love that little project, and it's something that I can work on when I feel like it, and it's kind of passive otherwise. So it doesn't take up too much time, so it's kind of a nice income stream. I'm not like trying to be $1 million Etsy seller by any means, but I really enjoy sort of designing those products. So that brought me in $399 in sales in July. I don't keep all of that. That was actually excluding all of the Etsy fees, so that's already taken off. However, some of those things are printed products, and I'm only keeping about 20%, and a little bit less if I'm running sales. So I'm not keeping all of that $399, so it's quite low actually. I have classes on Patreon, and I have one amazing person signed up. Thank you so much for being there, and I really want to give great content for that person. So they are paying $7 a month. So if you want a whole bunch of awesome art tutorials and things, please join my Patreon. I'm trying to be as generous as possible on there for your $7. Yeah, so that brought in $7. I'm hoping that goes up. So right now, this is the other thing in terms of this income stream. The learning curve of doing this is just kind of phenomenal. So people are always like, why don't you just set up a camera and film yourself painting? And you're like, that sounds like a great idea. And then you try it and you realize really quickly that it's way more complicated than it sounds. So one of the things I'm struggling with right now is the sound quality. Obviously you guys can hear a buzz, and what's happening is I need a fan on my computer or it overheats and shuts down and I lose all my video, and that's happened many times. So I have just ordered, thanks to a friend of mine who gave me some suggestions, I've just ordered a new microphone that's a clip-on and is supposed to reduce the ambient noise. So one of the things that I'm noticing when I'm filming, like I have the canvas behind me, you see my easel there, and then I have a webcam, one up there, I have one here, and then I've got a GoPro that I'm putting on the side here to get close up. But when I'm facing the canvas with the GoPro and it's running, it also fails very quickly, so I need to pay attention to that. But when I'm facing the GoPro, the sound is pretty good. It's a pretty good mic, and it's really close to me, but the minute it shuts off and then I have to show video from the other camera, even if those points of views are super interesting, now my sound is really bad. You can't even hear anything. It's basically unusable. So hopefully the clip-on, because it will always be on me, also it won't mess with the sound, and I can just keep the same soundtrack for the whole thing. The other thing is editing. I have to learn how to do editing. So definitely like my next month, part of my learning curve and what I'm wanting to aim for is just learning how to do better video content for you guys, and also sort of learning the whole beast that is YouTube and Patreon in terms of like SEO and all those kinds of things. So that's pretty big learning curve, all of that together, on top of just trying to fulfill my renderings and painting goals. Yeah, so that gets a bit overwhelming, but that's where I'm at with that. And let me see what else. Yeah, so rendering for last month was lowish. It was lower than normal. It was $340. And like, let me see if I can check here. So like the month before that in rendering, was 780, for example, and then like February was almost 2000. So yeah, that's like very different. It's really up and down, and that those are some of the punches that you kind of have to learn how to roll with when you're being self-employed as an artist. And that's just something that I've always sort of known and learned how to deal with. But this is why I actually say this is the first year I'm tracking my income, and it's taken a lot of the stress away. I thought I was going to hate this part of it. So marketing is not my forte at all. This is another learning curve, but I have sought help. There are some programs in BC, and I am going to be getting some subsidized marketing help, and that is amazing. So I get basically 10 hours of free coaching from this woman, and she seems really amazing, and I will probably talk about that a little bit further. So part of my learning curve is going to be just on that side of things. I also have people signed up for my newsletter on my website, and I love them and I want to engage with them, and I have no idea how to do it. So I'm hoping that this marketing help will help. And then let me see, I've got some other things on like Redbubble, etc. It's the same designs basically that I'm using on my Etsy. And it's just, I'm trying to like upload them to places that I can just have passive income so I don't need to worry. So I do make sales on Redbubble. I haven't checked actually the final amount for this month, but as of about a week ago, it was $18, which is not, it's not a lot, but whatever. So all told, after all of that, I've made $2,157 this month. It's kind of not great, but it's the first year, and you know, you always take a hit in the first year as you build things up. I'm still on track. So they always say if you can do 30,000 in your first year of business, you're actually doing quite well. A lot of people run into like negative numbers on their first year, even for the first couple years. So I'm not panicking. I think I'm going to come out at about like close to 30,000 gross profit. So we'll see. I'm close. So I'm optimistic. But we'll see how this goes. So those are my goals for the next month, is to get through as much of this landscape series as I can for the arbutus trees on the coast, as well as doing some more animal paintings. I'm going to keep doing my pet portraits and commissions and things as they come in. Oh, you can see a bunch of watercolor paintings behind me there, right behind me. I was doing those as examples, and I was going to upload them to my Etsy to try to drive some sales for commissions for portraits, and I just haven't done it yet, and it's been months, and I keep telling myself I just need more examples, but I probably have enough actually, so I'm just going to stop hesitating on that and put them up this month and see what happens, and I can always add to that later. Yeah, so renderings, art store, finish these big paintings, landscape paintings and animal paintings for shows, get my portraits up there, finish doing commissions, and yeah, keep pushing and trying to build and improve this video content that I hope you will find inspiring and helpful. So that's it for my Scrum meeting for the month and my goal setting. I would love to hear if you've thought about starting an art business, what's stopping you, what's not stopping you, have you started setting goals, do you have a business plan, what are your ideas, what are your sticking points? I would love to have a discussion with you guys about this, and if I have questions, I will definitely deal with them in another video. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this and took something away from it. I will be planning on doing one of these a month on the first of the month. I have ADHD. I'm not the best at consistency, so please forgive me if I forget, but I'm going to start writing this down and try to stick to it. Yeah. So hopefully next month you will be getting another Scrum meeting for the month of, oh my God, September. It goes so fast. Anyways, thanks for joining, guys, and I can't wait to see you, and I cannot wait to hear your comments on your own art business and your own progress and your own goal setting. So take care, and I will see you for a paint session. Bye, guys.